I almost took my shot instead of waiting to introduce myself. Oh, that felt stupid. That's pretty on brand for me. Welcome to another episode of Drunk Mythology, the only mythology show where the gods aren't the only ones making bad decisions. I'm your host, Destiny. So, we just finished talking about Zeus, and I know the logical next step would be covering Hera, but I don't feel like covering her this week. I want to talk about Demeter. And I got a reason. You'll see it, okay? But so, this week, we're going to talk about Demeter. Before we begin, just like last time with Zeus, I do want to give you guys a quick trigger warning. This episode does also have themes of SA and child abduction. So if that is a trigger for you guys, please, yet again, skip it. There will be other myths for you where there is much less of those things. I know those are common triggers. But if you're able to stick around for this episode, I think you guys will really enjoy it. Let's hop on into it, okay? My drink today is the Harvest Queen. Still using the same cutesy cup. Ignore that sticker, I just haven't taken it. That is 2 shots of Fireball and then apple cider. Hopefully I won't get as drunk this time as I did last time. But regardless, before we start, we'll have our honorary toast to the gods. To the gods, the mortals they ruin, and the myths that somehow survived. Cheers! Oh. Oh, that was... How was that harder than taking a shot of the extra proof vodka? Oh. So, Demeter is one of the middle children of Kronos and Rhea. She kind of gets forgotten about a little bit, you know, she's kind of got that middle child syndrome going on. She's usually a pretty chill goddess, very kind, loving, nurturing. Picture like Mother Nature, not Gaia, because that's Mother Earth, but Mother Nature. But, just like Mother Nature, if you piss her off, she'll fuck you up. Don't do that, I guess. I don't know what to tell you guys. She's the goddess of agriculture, grain, fertility, and the cycles of life and death. Basically, if it like grows, feeds people, or dies dramatically, that's her turf, that's her domain. She does have a couple of kids as well, not to be confused with Pluto, the Roman god of wealth and death and everything. And she has Chloe. We'll get into a little bit more about them and kind of like what they're the gods of when we talk about how they came to be. Anyway, I can see the chunks from the apple cider. It tastes like fall. I like that. Speaking of moving into how her kids came to be, let's start with Demeter and Iazon? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh well. Sorry, Iazon. So, remember how I mentioned last episode that Zeus and Hera got married? Demeter was obviously invited to their wedding, right? Like, who doesn't invite their siblings to their wedding? And she is the sibling of both the bride and the groom, so she's double invited. So, she's invited, she's at their wedding party, she's enjoying herself, she's having a good time. When she looks off to the side, like down at the mortal world or whatever, and she sees this mortal man, and she's like, oh wow, he's really hot. And I don't know, she's probably like trying to gossip with Hestia or whatever, or one of the titans that sided with the Greek gods. And they're like, no, yeah, he's cute. And she's like, I think I'm gonna go down there and just get to know him a little bit. I just want to get to know him a little bit, you know? We don't spend a lot of time with the mortals. We should do that. And they were probably like, okay, yeah, whatever. Go have fun. This mortal was Iazon, a prince of Crete. So she went down to Crete and she got to know him a little bit. And by get to know him a little bit, I mean they started hooking up. It's like ye olde Tinder, I guess. Going to your brother and sister's wedding. They go to a thrice plowed field, which just means that like it got tilled 3 times in a row, and they hooked up. Which would be major bragging points for Iazon, but like he's not really one to brag. He's keeping it on the down low. You know, all those old-timey like sexual purity rules, you only have sex with your husband, don't have sex with anybody before your husband, all that stuff. It applied to the gods too, more or less. And hooking up on a thrice plowed field is the most on-brand place for Demeter, given like real OG fertility ritual vibes. Then up from the wedding party, Zeus is like looking down at the mortals and he sees Demeter hooking up with Iazon, and he gets so jealous. He sees that and he goes, absolutely not. Not at my wedding. Which, like, why are you getting mad that your sister's hooking up with some mortal at your own wedding? But naturally, Zeus, being a reasonable god, does what anybody would do when they get jealous at their own wedding, and he smites Iazon to death. He goes, pew! And Iazon dies. Boo, Demeter. I'm so sorry, girl. You did not deserve that. You were just trying to have a good time. She really said, I'm here for a good time and a long time. Please let me have my good time. She did end up getting pregnant from that fling with Iazon, and that's where her son Plutus comes from. He is the god of wealth, because the abundance of a harvest equals prosperity. You know, you're not going to be struggling for food through the hard times. And unlike Hades, he's the god of, like, wealth above the earth. Material possession wealth. Think of him like the OG capitalist, kind of, right? But not in a, like, gather all the riches kind of way. A rational capitalist, if you will. And so, that's her first child. At least to me, that's her first child. So you might be sitting there in your chairs and kind of like wondering, why was Zeus jealous of Demeter hooking up with someone at his own wedding? And that's a really good question to ask, my friends. You should be asking that question. It's because he wanted to fuck her. Obviously. Duh. Come on, you just watched the Zeus episode. You should know the answer. After she had Plutus, he tried to shoot his shot, and Demeter was like, no, you literally just got married to our sister like 9 months ago. Why do you think I would want to have sex with you? You also just killed my boyfriend like 9 months ago. Why would I want to do that? But Zeus being Zeus isn't one to take no for an answer, as we have seen, as we will continue to see. There's a drinking game for us. Every time Zeus crosses a boundary, take a shot. So, after Demeter kind of tells Zeus off and is like, no, I don't want to have sex with you, she turns into a snake to try to get away. She slithers away. And Zeus took that as a challenge, because of course he did. Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? And then he turns into a snake too, to like slither on after her. And Demeter's just kind of like, no, you know what? Fuck it, I'm not fighting you forever on this. Literally forever on this. We're immortal. We will not die. Just, whatever. Do whatever the fuck you want. Which, by the way, Zeus, that's not consent. That's coercion. She's like, at least the symbolism is on point, I guess, because snakes are a symbolism of rebirth. And that's one of my things. Since, you know, snakes shed their skin. And then there's new skin underneath. Rebirth! From Zeus just pestering her until she said fine, she got pregnant again, and then she had Kore. And Kore is Demeter's pride and joy. That is the light of her life. Why did that taste like just whiskey? So, Kore is Demeter's sweet little angel baby. She's such a girl mom. Sorry, Plutus. You're not really mentioned that much later, I don't think. Like, it's all eyes on Kore now. She's such a girl mom. She spends like all of her time with Corey, doesn't let this girl out of her sight because she doesn't want anything bad to happen to her. Some of her siblings keep trying to like pester her into marriage, and she's like, no, she's not marrying you. No, that's my sweet baby. Corey means maiden. Obviously Demeter had plans for her, and it was keeping her a maiden forever under the watchful eyes of Demeter. I said she's a really good mom, but she's also kind of like a helicopter mom, so take that for what it's worth, I guess. But Corey wants to spend time with her little nymph friends. I didn't mention what Corey was the goddess of. She's the goddess of springtime. I love apple cider. But obviously, you know, as Corey got older, she wanted to have a little bit more independence from her mom. It's pretty normal. We all want to kind of leave the nest at some point for the most part. And Corey's like, Mom, can I please just go pick some flowers with my nymph friends? And like, side note, of course, Corey would be friends with the nymphs. Because like, they're the little nature spirits, they like live in the trees and stuff, and that's just really cute. Of course the goddess of springtime would be friends with the trees. And Demeter's like, okay, fine, but just stay in that meadow, and please be safe. Don't talk to any strangers. Just you and your little nymph friends. And Corey was like, thank you, Mom, thank you so much. I will go out there and I will pick you the most beautiful bouquet of all the pretty springtime flowers. And Demeter's like, that sounds lovely, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to it. And Demeter goes off to do whatever she's gonna do now that she has some time away from her daughter. And Corey's just out there in this meadow picking fields with her... They're not picking fields, Jesus Christ. Picking flowers with her nymph friends, and they're kind of just like all scattered about the field picking all the flowers. Corey's out here picking crocuses and roses and irises and hyacinths and all sorts of just pretty flowers. And then while she's scanning the field like looking for flowers, she sees this really pretty one that she thinks Demeter's gonna love. It's this most beautiful, perfect asphodel flower, the most beautiful one she's ever seen. So she reaches out to touch it, right? To grab it, to pick it. And as soon as she touches it, the ground opens up underneath her. She freaks out, of course, because like there's a giant chasm where the flower was, and she screams out for Zeus and Demeter. She's calling out, Mom, Dad, help, ah! But like more serious than that. Zeus is ignoring her though. He's up in his temple receiving prayers from the mortals, receiving sacrifices from the mortals, doing whatever it is he feels he should do as king of the gods. But Demeter hears this and immediately goes in like mama bear mode because, oh no, my daughter's in danger. She freaks out, obviously. I would also freak out if I heard my daughter screaming, Mom, help me, please. So Demeter rushes to where she left Corey in the field, but by the time she gets there, Corey's gone. There's no sign of her. There's just a meadow of flowers and the nymphs looking around like, what the heck just happened? Where did our friend go? So Demeter panics. Obviously, I would also panic if like I let my daughter go play in my backyard and then I hear her scream and I run out there and there's no sign of her. Like she was never there. I would do the same thing. Demeter, you are seen. I get it. So first she runs back to Olympus because she thinks maybe one of the other gods on Olympus saw something and they'd be able to help her. Because, you know, they're like always watching, seeing what the mortals are doing, being kind of nosy. But none of them are any help. None of them have seen anything. So she asks Zeus, like, did you not hear our daughter calling for you? And he's like, no, I'm sure she's fine. She's probably just like gone on a little adventure or something. She'll be fine. It's okay. Don't worry. But Demeter's like, I am past worrying. I am in full-blown panic mode. I want my daughter, goddammit. So she runs back to the field where she left all those nymphs, probably confused as fuck, and is like, did any of you guys see anything? You were in this field with her. And all the nymphs are like, no, I'm sorry, Lady Demeter. We didn't see anything. We were all kind of like spread out in the field, and like our backs were all turned to her, so we didn't see anything. By the time we heard her scream and we turned around, she was gone and there was no sign of her. She was just there and then she wasn't. So Demeter is just like, oh my god, my daughter's like literally gone. She vanished into thin air. That's not something we can do. We've never done that before. this is new. So she starts wandering the whole world trying to look for Corey because she's like, she couldn't have just vanished. That's not a thing. She's got to be around here somewhere. And while she's doing that, she ignores all of her duties as like the goddess of agriculture and the harvest and making the plants grow. Which, again, I'm empathizing with you a lot here, Demeter. Mom to mom. I would do the same thing. If my daughter went missing, would not be going into work. I would be calling in every day like, nope, she's still missing. I'm sorry, I'm not doing my job. I'm looking for my daughter. Demeter was doing the exact same thing. And so by her not doing her job and not making the plants grow and the harvest happen and basically making the food ready for all the people, the other gods also start to panic. Not because Corey's missing. They don't really care that like their sister, cousin, niece, nephew, whatever is missing. They just care because they know the world's gonna turn into a global famine. And they're like, if there's no food, there's no people. If there's no people, there's no one to worship us. If there's no one to worship us, there's no sacrifices to us, and I don't like that. So they're all meeting while Demeter's wandering around looking for Corey, and Zeus is like, what are we gonna do? We need to get Demeter back here doing her job so all the animals and all the people don't die. I'm gonna chug this because I don't feel like I'm getting drunk fast enough. I still feel like I could drive. That's probably a lie. Chug, chug, chug. Oh no. We're gonna move on to an apple White Claw. This is a new flavor. I haven't tried it before, but it smells really good. It smells better than it tastes, but it's still not bad. So while all the gods are up on Mount Olympus panicking because there's no food, which means no animals, which means no people, which means no sacrifices, Poseidon's like, guys, don't worry. I've got a solution. I know how I can get Demeter back here and how I can get her to start doing her job. And all the other gods are like, oh, thank you, Poseidon, that is so great. What's Poseidon's solution, though? One of the other gods probably asks him. And he's like, I'm gonna woo her. I'm gonna get in her pants. She's gonna be so amazed that she forgets her daughter's missing and she just comes back up to Mount Olympus and falls in love with me and gets married and has a bunch of kids. And all the other gods are like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work, Poseidon. But he's like, watch me. It'll work, don't worry. It'll be good. It'll be great. In his dude bro mind, he's like, if I make her fall in love with me, then she won't be sad anymore. I don't know. It's a flawless plan, really, like, right? What could go wrong? Nothing could go wrong. Oh no, it all went wrong. So, he finds where she is in the world, looking for Corey, and he's like, hey Demeter, how you doing? And she's like, pretty shitty actually, my daughter's fucking missing and you are no fucking help, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I just thought, I'd come spend some time with you, maybe help you look a little bit. And she's like, oh, actually, yeah, that's really nice, thanks Poseidon, you're great for that. And in his head he's like, yeah, this is working, this is all going to plan. Oh, I am such a genius. So they're like looking around and he's like, oh hey Demeter. And she's like, yeah? Did you find anything? And Poseidon goes, no, but did you know you make the land bloom and I make the waves crash? Together, I bet we could make the ultimate beach vacation. And Demeter's like, did you just hit on me? He's like, yeah, there's more where that came from, baby. And he makes horses for her. He just like, nay. And now there's horses, including Arion, a beautiful black stallion who can speak human. Like, this horse can talk people talk. And Demeter's just kind of like looking at them, galloping around, stomping through what's left of her sacred fields, eating what's left of the food for the people and the other animals. And she is not impressed by the pickup lines or the horses or anything Poseidon is doing to help right now. So she just kind of looks at him and she's like, Poseidon? He goes, yeah, baby. She goes, unless you know where the fuck my daughter is, or these goddamn horses do, leave me the fuck alone. And Poseidon's like, man, I really thought that would work. It would work for me. But it didn't work for Demeter. So, you shot your shot, Poseidon, and you lost. But I'll give you this. You listened to her leave me the fuck alone. So, half a point for you, I guess. So, Demeter decides she's tired of her siblings and her cousins and her nieces and her nephews and her whatevers bothering her to try to get her to do her job while she's busy looking for her missing daughter. So she decides to disguise herself as an old lady. And like, all the myths say old lady, but I don't know how old she is. Like, for all I know, they mean she looks like me. I don't know. I don't know what they constituted as old. And in her old lady disguise, she continues wandering. I should save one of those apple ones for when I get to the epic cycle. If you know why. You should keep watching. I'm so excited for that. As an old lady, she keeps wandering. And she winds up in Eleusis. The royal family of Eleusis sees her and they give her Xenia. They offer her hospitality. They offer her a job as a wet maid for their newborn baby. Which, see, that's why I don't think that she's like an old lady. Like, in my head, when I think of an old lady, I think of like someone that looks over retirement age. And they're not nursing no babies. That's what a wet nurse is. They're someone you hire to nurse your baby for you. And like, an 80-year-old lady's not doing that. But Demeter accepts the job. She's like, that is a great opportunity. You know, I miss my kid. So I would love to do that for you guys. And she takes the little baby. And she falls in love with this sweet little baby. Not like romantic love, but like a motherly love. She's like, this is the most precious baby I've ever seen in my entire life. And she decides she's going to make him immortal. She doesn't tell anybody this plan. Because again, the king and queen of Eleusis don't know that she's a goddess, right? They just think that she's some lady that wandered in and they offered her a job off the street. If only the job market were still that way. Maybe not for wet nurses, though. You'll see why. So, how does one make a mortal baby immortal? Since this is the plan that Demeter has come up with. It's simple, really. You nurse them, which she has to do anyway, because she's a wet nurse. Baby's gotta eat. She's got boobs. She's already got that part covered. But then she also has to place the baby in the fire to burn off his mortal flesh. Which is where she runs into problems, because again, she's told nobody her plan to turn this baby from a mortal to an immortal. I don't even know if she knew this plan would work. She just thought she'd wing it. Worst comes to worst, the baby dies, I guess. Maybe I need to take back what I said about her being a really good mom. But She's placing the little baby in the fire to burn his mortal flesh away, and the queen walks in, and she very obviously and very justifiably freaks out because she just sees the nursemaid putting the baby in the fireplace. Or the hearth, I guess, not really like a fireplace. And she's like, oh shit, what are you doing? And she snatches the baby out of the fire, and she thinks that they hired a psycho murderer off the street to nurse her baby, and now the nursemaid is trying to psycho murder the baby. And at first Demeter gets really pissed off about this. Like, how dare you call me a psycho murderer? I am just trying to... And then, like, it clicks in her head what this must have looked like for the mom. And she's like, I'm sorry. That was uncalled for. I should not have called you names. She had, like, a moment of clarity. And, like, realizing what the situation must have looked like. And she's like, I'm so glad I didn't smite you. And the queen's like, what do you mean smite us, crazy lady that tried to burn my son alive? And she reveals her form. She, like, drops the old lady disguise. And she's like, I'm Demeter. I'm looking for Kore. Have you seen her? And they're like, no? Why did you put our son in the hearth? And she's like, that's not important. I'm just looking for my daughter. And they're like, we haven't seen her, I'm sorry. And she's like, well, thanks for the hospitality. Sorry about putting your son in the fireplace. Sorry about almost killing all of you. And then she goes on her way. And the king and queen are probably just like, maybe we shouldn't hire wet nurses off the street. Maybe there should be a vetting process for this. Before she leaves, she tells them, like, hey, make sure you keep on the lookout for Kore. And they're like, okay, we will. Thanks for not killing us. Thanks for not murdering our son. And Demeter keeps wandering. She just wanders all over the globe, looking for Kore, can't find her anywhere. She winds up back in Elysis. And by the time she gets back in Elysis, the baby she tried to make immortal is now grown up. His name is Triptolemus. And she's like, oh my god, I was your nursemaid for a little bit. I tried to make you immortal, but your mom walked in while I was putting you in the hearth and she freaked out and she pulled you out and now you're not immortal? And Triptolemus is probably like, huh? What? And Demeter's like, it's a long story. It's okay though. It's okay. I was your wet nurse for a little bit. And he's like, okay, that's great. It's so good to see you again, I guess. My mom and dad told me that Demeter stopped into town, but they left out the part about the fireplace. And she's like, you are so sweet, and you were such a sweet baby, and I love you so much. I wish that you were my son. That's why I tried to make you an immortal, but obviously that didn't work out. But I have a present for you, because I love you so much. And he's like, actually, that's really cool, thanks. And she gives him a bag of seeds, and he's like, that's great, nothing's growing right now. What am I supposed to do with these? They won't grow. And she's like, just hold on to them for a little bit. Once I find Kore, teach the world how to grow them. And he's like, okay, yeah, I can do that. She basically makes him like carb Jesus. She tells him to just like go spread the good word of agriculture. I'll make another episode about him. Because like while I was researching Demeter, I fell down a rabbit hole about like him and all the adventures he went on, and I thought it was really cool. So look forward to that. Carb Jesus. This only has 2 carbs. The more you drink it, the better it is. I think that's true of most things. And while she's in Elysis with Triptolemus, I think it's Triptolemus. I am probably pronouncing his name 100 types of incorrect. He's dead, so it doesn't matter. But while she's in Elysis, she decides to share her secret knowledge with them, which is where we get the Eleusinian Mysteries, which is basically a secret mystery cult dedicated to Demeter and her daughter that promises the followers a better version of the afterlife. And she makes Triptolemus her, like, founding priest of the cult. And I'll go into more details probably in, like, a short or something about the Eleusinian Mysteries, just because that's a lot for right now. I don't feel that drunk. I could go into it a little bit. I don't know. I can do whatever I want. It's my channel. No. You know what? I've still got, like, this whole can of claw, and I'm down to, like, the end of my notes. So I'm gonna go into the Eleusinian Mysteries a little bit. So, the Eleusinian Mysteries were, like I said, basically like a secret mystery cult in ancient Greece that promised its full-fledged members a better version of the afterlife. And they gather in Eleusis during the spring, I think. I'll fact check myself. And they'd go through the sacred rites, recite the sacred texts, until they became, like, full-fledged members. And it's so cool because it's literally a mystery cult. They didn't write down, like, a lot of what they did. They didn't write down the processes and everything. So it is a secret mystery cult. It's not secret in the same way that, like, some religious groups say they're secret, but then you can still find, like, their secret things online. Because obviously they didn't have the internet back then. So, like, if you said it was secret and nobody wrote it down, now it doesn't exist anymore because that religion isn't around anymore. The mystery cult's not around anymore. The mysteries died with the people that were in the cult. I missed you, White Claw. What's your guys' favorite drink? I want to know. I'll try them. If you comment down below what your favorite drink is, I think that'd be cool. That was the Eleusinian Mystery Cults in, like, a minute. I don't know how long that clip's gonna be. But where's Kore, though? She still hasn't found her daughter. So she's wandered the whole world because she's wound up back in Eleusis. She's been everywhere at least once. And she still can't find Kore. She's spread her sacred knowledge to the people, but nobody can use it yet because nothing's growing. The world is still in a global famine. I don't know how long she's been wandering the world, but, like, people are dying. There's no food. And, like, the gods are panicking. Demeter's panicking because she still can't find Kore. It's been years like this. And Zeus has been sitting up on Mount Olympus this whole time, like, how long can I let this go on for? If I let it go on too much longer, all the people will be dead. And I can't just get, like, Prometheus to make new people. He's chained to a rock. If all the people die, that's it. Game over. We got no people. And, like, we can't start over if Demeter won't grow food. Living things need food. So he calls Demeter back up to Olympus. And he's like, Demeter, I'll help you find Kore. I know where she is. And Demeter's probably fucking pissed because she's like, I've been wandering this whole planet for how long looking for our daughter, and you knew where she was this whole time? And he's like, yeah, I thought you'd get over it. Opposite parenting styles. He tells her that he'll help her get Kore back, but it's not going to be as simple as finding out where she is. There's going to be, like, more steps and more work involved. And Demeter's like, I'm tired. The world is starving. I just want my daughter back. Nobody is helping me get my daughter back. That is all I want. And Zeus is like, don't worry. I promise we'll get her back. Maybe. But in order to find out where Kore went, you guys gotta tune into the next episode. I can't tell you where she is, because Demeter doesn't know. Nobody's told her yet, because everybody's being kind of a dick to her about it. And, like, I do, girl, I empathize with you. I would also panic and not do my job if my daughter was missing and nobody was helping me. I watch a lot of true crime. And I see a lot of episodes like that. Where, like, a kid goes missing and the parents are like, the police are not helping us. That is probably how Demeter felt throughout this whole episode. Wondering where Kore went. But that is all I had for Demeter today. Tune in for the next episode to see where she went. I think you guys probably know if you know even a little bit of Greek mythology, but don't spoil it. Instead, just comment how excited you are about finding out where Corey went, because I'm excited to tell you guys. I will see you guys all again next week. I promise I'll get better at outros. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this episode. Tell me what gods you want to hear about in the next couple episodes. I got the next couple planned out, but after that, it's an open book, baby. Let me know what myths you want to hear. Leave you guys with a toast to the gods, the mortals they ruin, and the myths that somehow survived. Cheers!